So Vercel just announced the SDK version 6, and I really wanted to go through the announcement and share my thoughts. That being said, it's still in beta and it's still in active development, but they said that they're going to release it by the end of 2025, which is great. And version 6 is not going to be like a big jump like we had with from 4 to 5. We don't need to rewrite the whole code base. As they're saying is that it should be very smooth, and this release is not expected to have any major breaking changes, so that's great. So what's new in version 6 is that they introduced the agent abstraction, which is basically an abstraction over generate text and stream text. And the reason why to have this agent class is because it allows you to reuse configurations across your application. So you can have one instance of your agent and just reuse this one agent across your application, which cleans up a lot of mess in your code base. That's another point. It allows you to maintain consistency across your application. So you can, as I said, spawn one agent and use it across your application. Another thing is that it's going to simplify the API routes in your application, because now you won't have all this logic in your API routes with all the tools and generate text and stuff like this. It's all going to be encapsulated in this one agent class or instance, and it just overall is going to be much cleaner. And also because it's a class, you can easily infer from this class. So type safety is also going to be the big thing with this agents, because now if I scroll down somewhere here, it's much easier now, because all you need to do is to initiate your agent, create a type and use like infer agent UI message and just make a type of your agent. So if we go back to the announcement, here they're initiating the agent, which is tool loop agent, and I'm going to show you what it is. And they're calling the weather agent.generate. So this is generate, which means it's like generate text. It won't stream the text. It will just generate it in one chunk, basically. You might be asking, what is this tool loop agent? Because we were just talking about agent abstraction, right? But tool loop agent, all it does is, if we look at the source code, it just sets by default stop when parameter into the agent. So it sets it to 20 by default. And if you just use new agent by default, it's going to be 0, which means if AI decides to call a tool, it will stop immediately, because stop when is by default 0, which means it can't go into loops. Basically, that's how it works. So because of this abstraction, you can now easily create another class on top of this agent, which is going to just implement agent. And in constructor, you can define the sub-agent. As for orchestration, you want to have multiple sub-agents, and after that you can call them. So it's pretty much extendable. And that's exactly what the core maintainer of AI SDK said in his Twitter post. He said, "I want the agent abstraction in the SDK 6 to be extendable, leading towards a design where agent is an interface and tool loop agent is the default implementation. This lets you create your own agent type." So, and because this agent is extendable, you can now build your own like workflows. For example, as orchestrator agent, you can have like multiple sub agents, and you can have planning agent and stuff like this. And you can extend the implementation of the basic class. Another big thing that they have introduced is tool execution approval, which basically means human in the loop flow. All you need to do is to, in your tool, so here we have our weather tool, is to define needs approval, and we need to set it to true. And you can also define the dynamic approval, which means that if the amount is more than $1,000, then you need the approval. So that's also cool. You can pass on the function, and based on the input, you can decide whether or not you want to get approved by the user. And on the front end, all you need to do is to get the invocation, which is just a part. You need to get the state, and it's going to be approval requested. And based on that state, you can render like two buttons, deny or approve. And we need to call the function add tool approval response, get the ID of this invocation, of this approval, and set the approval to true or false, depending on the case. And to get this function, all we need to do is to get it from the use chat. Now we have the add tool approval response. And also, all it does, this add approval response, is just adds another message to the chat context, but it won't actually send it to the backend. And so to make it automatic and without you needing to after calling this function, also like make a request and send a message or retry. They also have like send automatically when, and this huge function, last assistant message is complete with approval response. And if you set it, then it's going to automatically trigger the retry function once you have this this response in the message context. Another thing that I didn't see here, but I saw it on X, is that stream object and schemas are not going to require Zod. So now it's going to also allow you to use like Volleybot and other like validation libraries. I'm not sure, maybe they have released it in version 5 somewhere and I missed it, but I just wanted to share that as well. Okay, now I'll go and play with it. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.